Hello YouTube and welcome to part 5 of my jet ski update. In this video we're going to tackle some issues that we uncovered in part 4, so let's get to it. Before you watch this video any further, I will say that I am not a fiberglass expert and this is not a how-to video. If you're looking for information on how to repair fiberglass, a very good channel to check out is Boatworks Today. He's quite entertaining and very informative. West Systems also has a series of videos on how to use their products, as well do many other manufacturers. With that being said, let's get started. I've marked out a bunch of little areas that need to be taken care of with a Sharpie, and I came in with a Dremel and removed the bad material. I also noticed that the relay mount was damaged, and so I ripped that off. While I was ripping that off, I noticed that there was a bunch of glue oozing out from the seams and decided to use the Dremel to remove that. As usual, I got carried away and removed it all the way around the hull. As I've already mentioned, I'm not a fiberglass expert. I've never actually worked with epoxy resin to wet out fiberglass. I assume this is going to be a little bit tricky and messy, so trying to record the whole thing isn't really going to work too well. What I'm going to do is tackle a couple of these repairs off camera so I get used to using the material. Then I will get back and show you guys what I've done and we'll continue on with the job. I've patched this part with has 8 or 9 layers. It was really thick here from the factory, so I used epoxy. Some chop strand and a little bit of this stuff. Now I'm doing the nose. The nose is beat up pretty bad. I've cut out a bunch of pieces, numbered them, so now I'm going to get to filling that, and I've got to get going quick because my it started to flash off in the container and I had to very quickly use it to fill this section. I don't know if I even recorded that, but I had a bunch of cut off pieces like about this big and I fit them down in there. There's about 8 pieces down in there. I got this one piece wet out and then it started to flash off. So yeah, I've got another pot mixed up. So before I get myself in trouble again, I'm going to get a couple more pieces in there quickly. This stuff lays down very nice. Way nicer than chop strand. I'm not too fussy about how these are laid out because there's a lot of layers overlapping and I actually don't want them all matching perfectly, because if they match perfectly you get humps and seams everywhere. So wasn't actually planned to put this piece in here, but I think I will, just to take up some bulk. This is fairly thin chop strand, so it lays down pretty easy, but I was using some thicker stuff before and yeah, it doesn't lay down very nice. We got our 7s in there, so now we're on 6. Counting backwards. All the layers after this are chop strand. This is the fiberglass cloth. You can see it lays down very nice. The epoxy or any resin, it makes heat when it cures, and the more heat it has, the faster it cures. So if you have a lot of it in a container, once you mix it up, basically it gets to a point where it starts to warm up, and then the heat from it warming up causes it to cure more quickly, and the quicker curing causes more heat, and you end up with a bit of a runaway problem. If you get into that situation, what you can do is pour it out onto a flat surface. So pour it out onto your work surface. Once you get it out of the container and it's not all one big consolidated clump of epoxy, the heating slows down, the rate of heat slows down, and it becomes much more manageable as far as time goes. All right, it's supposed to sit in there like that, right against that edge. That goes around there. That goes around there. I cut the bristles down on this brush, and I think I like it a little bit better. The regular length bristles do two things that I don't like. One, they're too soft because of how long they are. So you try to force the epoxy into the fiberglass, but the bristles just bend over. You don't really get much work done. And the other thing is that it absorbs a whole lot of epoxy that you can't use because the epoxy goes way up to the top of the bristles. Let's see if I can not talk here for 2 minutes. Highly doubt it. Layer number 4. This is going way better than I thought it would. If I'm honest. Alright, let's get some of this epoxy out of the pot before we run into a problem again. Not sure if the camera can see or if it's even recording, but I'm not worried about this stuff along the top. I'm just going to run the epoxy up to the top and then trim the top and sand it so that it has a rolled edge basically. Yeah, the stiffer brush is definitely the way to go. Shorter bristle brush. Way more effective at getting epoxy into the glass. Okay, so the fiberglass is all laid up, and I'm pretty happy with the way it went. I thought about continuing on and patching this. I still have several patches to do, but yeah, it's almost 12:30 midnight. So I'm gonna go in the house now and have a snack and go to bed. But yeah, I still have a big one to do here, one to do here. I've got to repair this piece, and then some little scratches here, gouge there, and I just did this one. I also have to repair this, and all along this side, and then here, and then up in the nose. That's the repair that I just did, and I have to do here, and there, and that's a pretty big one too. I don't know what they ran into, but it was something pretty serious. Sorry for that shaky camera work. It's kind of hard to lean over and get a good shot in there. As you can see by the extent of the damage on this hull, it's definitely going to take me quite some time. The next few videos are definitely going to be about fiberglassing. Hopefully not too many. I like to try to keep the content a little bit interesting, but this is what I have to do, so this is what I'll be making videos about. Anyway, that's the end of this video, and I will see you guys next time. One more thing before I go in the house, I wanted to show you guys how hot this stuff gets. Point it at the wall over there, 16 or 17. We point it here, 70 degrees. The epoxy is actually starting to throttle down a bit here, but it's still 53 Celsius. 128, 130 Fahrenheit. Over here we've got 143 Fahrenheit, 160 Fahrenheit. Yeah, so anyway, that's what epoxy does when it starts to cure. It gets quite hot.